Donc c'est INSEE de Terry Riley.
Somehow
INSEE by Terry Riley.
INSEE was written in 1964 by Terry Riley. The premise behind the piece
Terry
is that
Riley,
there are
donc il
53
fait partie d'un peu de cette mouvance.
In the key of C? Oh, C major?
I've used some of those phrases over and over again as the jumping off for a score.
Welcome to Tell Me About INSEE, the podcast about Terry Riley's minimal musical masterpiece. Today I've got a special guest on, somebody that I've been following for years and years. So Zoe Keating, how about you tell us a little bit about yourself? Give us an introduction.
Well, thank you very much for having me. I'm a cellist. I've been playing the cello since I was 8, and a composer. I feel like I do more composing than celloing these days. And I'm originally from Canada, but now I live in Vermont. Right now I work on film scores, and I'm working on a score for a video game, a really interesting open world game that's all cello as the score. I sort of got my start playing cello in rock bands. You know, I had a tech career, and I was playing cello in rock bands, and I played in a group called Rasputina, which I called Rock and Roll Cello Finishing School. And then I've got on to sort of like have a sort of, I think, unique career, and then I'm still totally DIY and somehow making that work. And,
Yay!
yeah.
So what was your first introduction to INSEE?
You know, I was trying to think of when it was, and I'm pretty sure it was in college when I was studying composition, and I had discovered the Minimalists, and I was working I was at Sarah Lawrence College, and I worked in the music library, and my job was to like put the magnetic strips into all the recordings that came in. And I would listen to stuff, and I was sort of giving myself my own education in a way, because at the time, this is the early 90s, my composition teachers were really down on anything tonal.
Oh.
But I had heard this recording that came into the library that I had to put the magnetic strip in. It was Goretzky's Third Symphony with Don Upshaw singing, and I was transported by this music, and I was like, oh my god, what is this music? And that led me down a path to discover, listening in the library, to Steve Reich, and to Philip Glass, which I'd heard Philip Glass in like Koyaanisqatsi, but I wasn't really all that familiar with him either. And I discovered INSEE.
Ah.
So that's when I first heard it, and yeah, so I guess that was, 30 years ago?
And when was the last time you listened to INSEE?
Honestly, the last time I listened to it was... maybe 10 years ago.
Okay.
Yeah. But here I'll tell you something, which is that I don't listen to a lot of music these days. I'm almost ashamed saying that. And part of it is because I'm so continually composing that I have to be really careful not to rewrite what I just heard. Actually, that's not true. I saw INSEE in Philadelphia maybe in 2022.
Ah.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I think it was at the Curtis Institute. I did a project where I wrote a piece of music for the some students at the Curtis Institute, and I was trying to make a configurable piece. And I remember I listened to INSEE in preparation for that, because that is the ultimate configurable piece.
Right.
Where you can have it work for any ensemble. And then there were students, and they played that there as part of the performance. So, yeah.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. Sorry, my memory.
So I take you probably don't have a lot of formats of INSEE that you wrote.
Sorry, say that again.
Well, some people I talk to are like, "Oh yes, I've owned it in CD, and I've owned it in LP, and I've owned it
Oh
on
wow, yeah.
8-track and cassette." And
No, I'm not that kind of person.
yeah.
Yeah.
What impact has NC had on you personally?
Well, I have to say, as a composer, I always, this is the thing, so I remember after I heard it at the music library, then taking it and discussing it with my composition teacher. And that idea of having a series of phrases that you don't ever know how it's going to turn out. I would say that, like, I've been chasing that on my own for a long time. And I had read something about where Terry Riley said that he was actually trying to replicate what he had created in tape loops.
Yeah.
And also Steve Reich said the same thing. Like, this was like a new technology, and he had created something in tape loops, and he was trying to create that with a live ensemble. And that is the essence of what I've been trying to do since I started out as a composer. Like, it was, I was in my 20s, and I had like all these ideas that I wanted to do, and I wanted to get a bunch of cellists to just play these sort of like musical phrases, vibes, grooves, and have them kind of do it organically.
Mm-hmm.
And I actually got 3 cellists to work with, and I got so frustrated at to find a cellist at the time who was good enough to make the sounds that I wanted, but who was flexible enough to not have it be completely written out in stone on a piece of paper.
Right.
And that was so difficult and so dissatisfying that it led me down the path of using technology to create, so you have like Terry Riley, who's like inspired by these tape loops and then wrote these phrases and then gave them to physical players to play in like using this sort of script of how to like work through the phrases. And so like I record stuff on the cello and then use technology to play the phrases, and then use my computer to call them up to play at different times. Like it's sort of, I feel like I'm kind of doing a continuation of the same thing. So like that sort of, that way of composing, and that sort of I don't want to use the word like, it's not a lack of preciousness. It's sort of like I don't care so much about things sometimes being played exactly the right. It's more about the feeling. So I would say I have that in common.
All right. Well, since we're getting a little bit into the weeds, let's talk about loopers and NC. So, what do you think? Loopers and NC, yes or no?
Absolutely, yeah. Yeah, bring it. I was, right before this call, I pulled up my original Ableton Live set of Zinc, which is Z and C.
Right.
That's that piece that I did. And I was like looking at it and just like, oh yeah, I did this and this and this. And first of all, I created that in Ableton Live, which is a looping program.
Right.
And I took all the phrases from, the Grand Valley Ensemble, music ensemble, and I spliced them up and looped them. I took the favorite ones, like they sent me all these recordings, and I like went through everything, and I found my favorite phrases, and I looped them, and then stacked them up, and then I wrote new parts that are not in the score. Right. To sort of tie them together and to create a composition, and it's like, are we in C or are we in F? I don't know, like that. And the end-all question, is it C or F? And like that nebulousness. So I just had fun with that. And I think that, absolutely, I think you could probably do, I've never done this, I'm sure somebody has, you could probably tell your computer to record you at certain times and then just play through the phrases and see what happens. Like that would probably be pretty cool. Like one person with a looper. Have you done it?
Yeah, to an extent. I have 2 loopers that I have going. 2 Amazon $60 loopers, but the great thing about them, which I didn't realize wasn't available on a lot of looping pedals, is that it has a graphic display, so you can see when your loop is started, and then it goes in a circle around the looper until you know that you have come to your end.
Yeah.
So it makes it really easy to record new loops and add loops to it and know where you are. And I think it's got something absurd like a 9-minute memory that I've never used. I've never filled up 9 minutes of looping. But with those 2, and I have a board with a stereo echo pedal that splits it. So I'll have a loop going to one side of the stereo echo pedal and a loop going to the other side, and then I have an amplifier that has basically just the echo and the ukulele, and then an amplifier that has all sorts of delays and distortion pedals and fun stuff on it. So kind of creating a drone channel and a lead channel.
That sounds great. And the thing about NC is like it's a great jumping off point. Like you can take some of those phrases, and then I always like as a cellist to try to create the sounds that you would get from a delay, or from like a flange pedal,
right?
Like just by using the bow,
Yes.
That's always been my favorite thing to do, and NC is a great place to start. You could take a couple of those phrases like da 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 da, and then off you go. Yeah, that's pretty much what I do. So it's been a process, and I started out during quarantine. I was like, well, I'm going to record NC on my own with my ukuleles, and at the time I had 13, so I was like, so it'll be the 13 ukuleles. That was the project, and that worked great. But then I got done, and I was like, once quarantine was over, I was like, gosh, I really want to do this live with other people. And so I went ahead and organized a performance for my birthday. Oh, yay!
And so we had about 8 or 9 people come out. It was a great little crowd. We played NC, and then I've kept doing it. So I think we're up to performance number 7 or 8 over the space of about 3 years.
That's amazing.
Yeah. So it's been a fun progression and we have a nice core people who come in, and so I'm planning on doing it again in Charleston in September. So and this time doing it slightly larger, I hope. So we'll see how it goes.
That's really cool.
All right, thank you. All right, here's what's your favorite performance of NC to listen to or watch?
I don't think I have one.
Okay.
Yeah.
No, that's good. Some people would be like, oh, the 1967, or I really like the 25th anniversary or something like that.
When it comes to recordings for me of pieces like NC, I definitely favored live. If I were in a place and I saw that an ensemble was playing it, I would be there. I really believe that this is a piece that is meant to be experienced live.
Yeah.
But that's my personal preference, and my preference for music in general these days. Like, I will hear something and I'll listen to it, for technical reasons. I'll be like, oh, how did they record that, or how did they get that sound, or the quality of something. But I'm in such a phase, which has been many years long, of just favoring live ensembles playing things, and that kind of excitement of it being live.
Yeah.
I wish more people would play it. I wish that I could go, we've got the Vermont Symphony here, which is great. I can walk to their concerts.
Right.
It would be so wonderful if, in addition to their regular repertoire they play, they would just throw in NC, that'd be great. We should do that. But
that would be amazing.
That's not something that I think orchestras do that often.
No, not a lot. I've run into some people who are like, oh well, that's only for professionals to do. Or I had somebody who was like, well, we'd have to pay people to play, and we can't do that.
Yeah.
And and I thought every time I've played NC, I've done it out of sheer joy of just loving the music.
I know the joy, and it's accessible too. It's something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like I just invite musicians to do it. They do it. I don't pay honorariums to get people to play.
I think I saw I was in San Francisco and I saw an ensemble of 20, maybe even more guitars doing NC. That was really good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Have you performed NC yourself?
Never.
No.
No. Yeah, I know that's really crying out to be solved. Obviously, I need to come play it with you guys.
I'll let you know. It's
That'd be
beginning
fun,
of October in Charleston, West Virginia. That would be fun. No.
Yeah, I've never played down there. I should do a concert. That would
there's
a great way to open the concert. Play NC first.
That would be great. That would be great. What phrase of NC do you find yourself repeating the most?
Haha. Okay, well, I'm going to admit something here, which is that since I did that recording, it has been so in demand for a lot of licensing for a lot of projects.
Mm-hmm.
And there are certain, and then I've totally pillaged all of the recordings, both of me playing the parts and the Grand Valley Ensemble, and I make sure that they get a chunk of the licensing. Bill Ryan gets a chunk of the fees every time, and there are whenever I need to sort of capture a certain flavor in a score. I've used some of those phrases over and over again as the jumping off for a score, and then I end up taking them away. And it's they're kind of, it's just not even, you kind of would almost struggle to even call it a part. It's that it goes da 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 da, and then da 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 da, those super fast lines that that are just ostinatos. And then also the dum dum dum. It's just so. Yeah. I actually did a commercial. It was right after I released that, and my son was still really young, and it was an online ad for American Airlines. Mm-hmm. And I ended up using that phrase as the starting out point. But yeah, I've got this. I've got the whole Ableton setup right here, and I could see there's just a certain. They're on the violins in this one, violin ostinatos. So.
Is NC democratic?
Ooh, that's an interesting question. Yes and no.
Yeah.
I mean, because it is linear. You're not supposed to go back. There's rules, so you have some choice, but there are things you are not supposed to be doing. You're not supposed to be backwards. In my version, I broke all that because I just had the phrases play whenever I wanted. There's no, you didn't have to move through them. I think so. I mean, it's more democratic than Beethoven.
Okay. Let's see. Pulse or no pulse?
I kind of feel no pulse.
Okay.
Yeah. I know that it's easier over the pulse.
Yeah.
And everything I write has a pulse, so I'm being a hypocrite. But I'm in a little bit of a phase right now where I'm trying to escape the grid. So I feel like more interesting music happens without the pulse.
Okay.
Even though when everybody's, I think it's better if the musicians find the pulse together, and they can move in and out of it if they need to.
What's your favorite band influenced by NC?
I don't know.
Okay.
Yeah, what's yours?
Probably Sigur Rós.
Oh, really? Have they mentioned that at all? I'm so ignorant.
Well, I hear influences. I hear minimalist influences in their work. I don't know if it's specifically Terry Riley or not. But
yeah, I mean, I could see that. I guess if you expand it to like bands that are influenced by the minimalists, I mean, that's so many. I mean, so much of like electronica, like Niels Fromm, for example.
Yeah,
all that stuff. Yeah. I love Sigur Rós.
Yeah, and Mogwai and Godspeed You Black Emperor. I can see some stuff there.
Yeah, I mean that umbrella is huge. That's my favorite genre of music. You know, sort of like the instrumental post rock.
No, I love it. That's what I ended up playing on ukulele. I was like, but how do I get more sound?
Mm-hmm.
How do I create more voices?
Yeah, and it's really funny too how all that's gone, because going back to my time in college when I discovered the minimalists, working in the music library, my composition teachers, I was so excited about this music that I was like, this is what I want to do, and I started trying to, make my own compositions. And my composition teacher, I don't want to say he failed me, because that's not how solo arts works. You don't get failing grades.
Mm-hmm.
But it was a evaluation that was the equivalent of being failed.
Oh no!
Saying that like this is so trite and so surface, and I actually got frustrated, and I spent all this time meticulously crafting what I thought was a beautiful, minimalist inspired sort of piece. And that didn't go well as far as he was concerned. So I wrote an abstract skronkathon where I just drew stuff randomly on a page. Like scribbled up and down basically. And he was like, and I didn't put any thought in it. I just sort of tried to make as many textures as possible and I made it as ugly as possible. And he was like, great. You really incorporated the feedback. I could see you're on your way to becoming a composer. And after that, I kept my love for the minimalists secret. It was like having a secret kink, like that I'm listening to these minimalists. And so here we are today, where their influence is everywhere, right. And they've influenced so many other genres of music, and are now actually themselves completely accepted in the classical world. Like you can go to San Francisco Symphony and you'll hear them playing, and I think, and they're also part of the canon.
Yeah.
Like, that's really interesting to me, how things come around. Yeah.
How much improvisation should there be in NC?
I think there should be a lot. Yeah. And I think there should be a lot, and I think that I don't think that Terry Riley is precious about it. And I have a friend in California who his dad is a musician, mm-hmm. and he grew up with Terry Riley being kind of part of the extended family. And I heard from him that Terry Riley liked my thing I did.
Yeah.
And thought that like morphing in and turning things on was great. It was sort of like, he was like, go for it, So,
Oh, that's so exciting to hear.
yeah, it was very exciting to hear that like he actually listened to it. My friend played it for him. So,
Wow.
yeah.
Well, final question for you then. What would you ask Terry Riley?
I would ask, if you were going to do it again, would you do it any differently?
Yeah.
You know? Knowing how many, I don't know, thousands and thousands of instances of this piece have existed. How many composers it's inspired, how many like bands it's inspired, and I think how much it's sort of influenced just the way music is made. Would you change anything?
Yeah.
And I'd also ask him, what do you think of it now?
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, Zoe. Well, thank you so much for appearing on the podcast today. I really appreciate it. It was a delight to talk to you.
Oh, thank you. Thank you for having me.
So thanks for listening to my conversation with my favorite looping cellist, Zoe Keating. In the next episode, I'll be interviewing Martin Archer. Martin bought the original 1968 recording of In C shortly after it was released when he was a teenager in England, and it inspired him to make music for the rest of his life. Subscribe to Tell Me About In C now to make sure you don't miss the next episode.